Things keep charging forward here at the Tokyo Bora 23 Sneaker Channel in Tokyo, Japan, and we've flipped everything around. We were doing it one way where we talked about the stuff in general and gradually worked our way down towards the details on the shoe, but we flipped that and we're going to start right with massive details like this right here. This is my favorite part of the shoe, and it's the outsole. Now, everybody else in the world of sneakers who are probably looking at this shoe are going to be pointing right at the midsole, and they've got every good reason to do that, and I definitely will be looking at that in a minute because it is a massive signature feature on the shoe. But to be honest, the thing that really jumped out at me on these guys was the outsole, and you wouldn't think so looking at it because it's a pretty plain looking outsole front to back. There's not even sections in it. Most outsoles from the last 40 years of sneakers have been split into sections, if you think of the Jordan line, for example, and all the different sections you get with the outsoles on that. But this guy is a solid outsole front to back, toe to heel. But what's interesting about it is that is the standard for the 4D Futurecraft line, to have a solid single outsole front to back. But this guy has a little bit of variance on it, and you can kind of see it towards the middle of the front half and towards the middle of the back half, where they've kind of faded out a little bit, lessened a little bit of impact of that design and the tread that's on there, and given it a little bit more character. And it's one of my kind of criticisms of the 4D line, is how simple their outsoles have been, and that's why I was really drawn into this one. I really appreciated what they did with it, because it had been basically so boring until now, especially when you think Boost line. What you're talking, maybe 5 years of Boost, maybe even 7 years of Boost, and a lot of the stuff that goes on over the Boost line is pretty interesting because they want you to see through the outsole and into that actual Boost, because that's the major thing on the shoe. So what they went and did was they put Continental rubber on the outsoles, left all of these windows that look through to the midsole Boost, so you see that very iconic design for the outsole on Boost sneakers. So when you got to these 4D Futurecrafts, you're thinking, what's going to go on down there? It's way too simple. So having at least a little bit of character, a little bit of definition, a little bit of something in the design on the bottom of these guys is actually a big step forward for me. So it's the first place that I want to start on the shoe. You'd think the second place I'd go to is that midsole, but it's not. The second place I'm going to is the heel, because I just love the heel on these guys. It is such a clean heel, very simple, and they didn't overplay it at all. It doesn't have any kind of branding on it whatsoever, which is incredibly unusual for sneakers. Basically, with sneakers, like anything else, they want to put some kind of product branding on there, and the three major places to do that is on the tongue, on the heel, and on the side. But with these guys, two of those are really subdued, and one of them doesn't exist at all, and that's where we are with the heel on these guys. And it was just when I was looking at it, I was thinking, you know what, that's just a very clean looking heel, and they've really taken the time to go with the shoe and the design, the construction over the branding, and I kind of appreciate that about these guys. But then we finally get to that midsole, and I am absolutely a sucker for triple black Adidas, especially when it comes to the Boost line. In fact, was it yesterday or the day before? I think it was yesterday. For the first time in about a year, I was wearing my triple black NMD R1 Tokyo Special Edition, and it had been a while since I'd put those guys on. But I also have a pair of, I think it's Ultra Boost 4.0, they might be 3.0, I can't remember which it is. They're very similar, the 3.0 and the 4.0, but again, a triple black there. So when I saw these guys coming down the line, the triple black 4D Futurecraft, I was very excited about the shoe, and I'm 99% not disappointed in what they've come out with. There is a little disappointment in there that I'll get to in a second, but basically it's a really fire shoe, and that midsole is the distinctive feature on the 4D Futurecraft line. It's 3D printed midsole. One of the reasons why I get so excited about it is because I get to bring out one of my all-time grails, which is right here, and it's an absolutely beautiful shoe. The Daniel Arsham, I think I'm pronouncing that right. I remember calling him the Daniel Arkham for a while, which is the prison in the Batman movies. So whoops, I think it's Arsham, but whatever the guy's name is doesn't really matter, because it's the shoe that matters. And this was pretty much point one, the patient zero, as far as the 4D Futurecraft line went with the 3D printed midsoles. And A, it's great for me to be able to show you that because it's a beautiful looking shoe, but B, it's also important to look at the midsole on there, because basically for the first 2 or 3 years of the 4D Futurecraft line, it was this lime green printed midsole, 3D printed midsole, and then a couple of years ago they started playing around with it a little bit, especially with some kind of cream colors coming in. And now they've gone so far as to get it into that triple black, fully black, 3D printed midsole for the 4D Futurecraft line. And not only that, they finally pulled the price down to something that's reasonably affordable. When it first came out, the 4D Futurecraft line, I think it was well over $300, like $350, $400 per shoe. Massively astronomically expensive, well out of reach for most of us, myself included, and those beautiful Daniel Arshams that I absolutely love. There was no way I was getting my hands on those. I couldn't justify paying that kind of money for a pair of shoes. But then they've finally got the price down. I think these guys might actually be on the market for $180, so less than $200 mark. So they finally worked out how to get that 3D printed midsole, the 4D Futurecraft line, into an affordable territory. And then when they come out with the triple black, which is a classic of the Adidas line, it's surely going to be a big shoe that's coming out. So July the 7th is when this bad boy is going to be dropping, and I expect it to be one of the harder shoes to get a hold of in this season. It's a very sleek shoe, but it's also that kind of step into affordable 4D Futurecraft, which will make it a really big shoe as well. So it's a good sort of detail to sort of finish the happy side of the video, but then we get into the things that I'm not so thrilled about on this shoe. And I'll start with the lateral side branding and that 3-stripe branding there. I suppose they had to do something to give it some kind of definition and say this is an Adidas shoe, here's the Adidas branding, and they did it by going with quite a deep grey, but it's still a grey on the side of a triple black sneaker. And to be honest, I think they'd been better off going with some kind of black, that they could have done it in a different definition, different quality, different texture or something, but to get that fully triple black feel. But it's not that bad, you know what I mean? I can live with it. It's not a hugely disappointing thing. But then when you get forward and you really get a sense of what's going on with that knit in the toe area, you also get a sense of what's going on behind that knit in the toe area, and you see that there's a sort of white sock behind the knit, and it really pokes through the sort of holes that are appearing in the knit there. And I don't know why they didn't make this black. That's my thing, is like, why on earth on a triple black sneaker would you put the lower layer in white so that it looks through that knit, it looks through the weave of the shoe, and you see the white kind of poking through. Now hopefully I'm finding some pictures behind me here to show you what I'm talking about, and you get a sense of just how much that white kind of invades on the black. And that's the thing that really sort of takes this from 100% to 99%. It's still an absolutely massively beautiful shoe. Triple black, 4D Futurecraft, yes, every day of the week, but that just white sock that pokes through is just a bit disappointing for me. And speaking of white, we might as well go back to look at the tongue and the insole area. And I say tongue because basically most knit sneakers from the Adidas line these days don't have tongues on them. When you think of the Boost line and think of these 4D Futurecrafts as well, it's not really a tongue because of that sock effect on there, but basically the top of the lacing system, you still have a standard branding panel which is in black, and then on top of that you have the white Adidas brand there. But I don't actually mind this because it's such a black shoe, having that tiny little detail in white up there. And the same on the insole. If we travel back a little bit and have a look down on the inside of these guys, at the insole you see the Futurecraft branding on the inside there, on the white branding on the black insole. So I'm not disappointed with the top of the tongues and that white branding going on there. But when it comes to the sort of greyness on the side and then the white sock that pokes through the black of the upper, that's kind of the areas where I'm sort of thinking like, I wonder if they could have done something a little bit different with that to make it even blacker or even more triple black. So, but all in all, it's a really sweet sneaker. Like I said, July the 7th. I've been sitting on this video for quite a while, actually, maybe 3 or 4 days, because when I first looked at these guys, it was well over 2 weeks before the drop date, which is too far ahead of the drop date for me. I don't like to do things that far ahead of the drop date. I like it to be just about 10 days ahead of the drop date. Now it's July the 7th that these guys are coming around, and right now it's June the 26th, but this will be the video that goes up on June the 28th. So we're just about 10 days ahead of the drop date, and that's where I exactly want to be. So I've sat on this long enough to make it a relevant shoe for you guys out there, and hopefully I've given you enough details on it for you to see the unique bits on it that really make it well worth going out there. And if it is $180, it's well worth going out there and getting yourself a pair, because this is going to be one of those shoes that's the start of sort of a new phase with that 4D Futurecraft line. We've had the expensive sort of groundbreaking phase, and now I think we're moving into a more generally available, more affordable phase for the shoe. So it's a beautiful shoe, it's a great shoe, and if you're like me and you love your triple blacks at Adidas, definitely go out there and grab yourself a pair. Last thing to do today is get onto that number that we've been talking about. We're at something like 1,955 subscribers, so 45 short of 2,000, and something like 935 days of consecutive content without a single day missed, so 65 days short of 1,000 consecutive days. So I wonder which one's going to come first. We're going to have some kind of race between the subscribers, need another 45 of those, and the days, need another 65 of those to get to 1,000 consecutive days without a single day missed. Like seriously, not a single day, no holidays, no weekends, no breaks, nothing like that, no sick days, just 1,000 consecutive days on YouTube is not too far away. So we've got those two major deals coming down the line. Let's see if we can get to that 2,000 subscribers before we get to that 1,000 days on YouTube. And with that being said, it's time to just wrap this video up. So thank you guys for checking out the content again today. It's great to be bringing you that daily content 7 days a week from Tokyo, Japan, and hopefully you're appreciating the sort of vibe at the channel these days where we start with the details on the shoe and then work our way towards general stuff instead of starting with the general stuff and work our way towards the detail. For that, though, it's time for me just to wrap this one up. Thank you guys for checking out the content, and I'll say the same thing that I say at the end of every single video, which is that I do this every single day, and that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.